So here are the objects that we are going to be melting. Here's the marshmallow, the butter, the crayon, the chocolate chip, and the candle. I have them in a pot on a hot plate. Hot plate is a science tool that scientists use to heat things up. It kind of looks like your stove at home. Okay, so I haven't turned it on yet. I need to still add one more object, which is the ice, but I'm waiting until the last minute. So what's going to happen is I'm going to add the ice, then I am going to turn the hot plate on, and then we are going to be watching to see which of these objects melts the fastest. All right, so let me get our ice put in here. Whoops. Sorry. Taking me a second to get a good piece of ice. All right, here we go. Here's our ice. So remember, we're talking about how when we heat objects up, how it changes them. So I'm turning on the hot plate. I put it on about medium, and we are going to watch. I noticed that the ice is already starting to melt. Remember, ice is a solid, and one characteristic of solids is that, I'm gonna move the candle, is that they have their own shape. Does that ice still have its own shape? It does not. It is already losing its shape and turning into a liquid. So solids are being heated up and turning into liquids. So the ice was our first thing to melt. If you put ice first, you got that one correct. It looks like the butter is our second thing to melt. Oops, trying to move this out of the way. There we go. The butter is our second thing to melt. It hasn't melted all the way yet, but the bottom is getting soft. It's losing its shape. It's moving around. It's starting to turn from a solid to a liquid. All right, so we have ice first, then we have our butter. Let's see what's going to be our third object to melt. Look at the crayon. The crayon is starting to melt. It's starting to turn from a solid to a liquid. It's losing its shape. It's moving around. Look at our candle. Candle is starting to melt. So we're changing these objects by adding heat to them. They're changing from solids into liquids. And remember, this is called melting. So the ice was first, then the butter, then the crayon was third, the candle was fourth. The two objects we have left are the chocolate chip and the marshmallow. So we will continue to watch for, for a little bit longer to see which of these objects melts fifth and then last. Do you see the steam coming up? That's another change that's caused by heat. When liquids are heated up, they turn into a gas, and that's called evaporation. So all of this water that has melted from the ice is evaporating. It's turning into a gas and it's rising up, creating those bubbles. That's a gas. So we're seeing two changes happening from the heat. We're seeing melting and we're seeing evaporation. We're seeing solids change into liquids and liquids changing into gas. All right, so I'm going to give it a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to poke the chocolate chip and the marshmallow to see if either one of them has started to melt or lose their shape. Oh, sorry guys. Our video production quality is not the best, but you know, we do what we can. All right, so look at the chocolate chip. The chocolate chip has started to melt. It hasn't completely melted and turned into a liquid like some of these other objects, but it has gotten softer and started to, lose its shape. I'm turning the hot plate off now, so I don't want anything to burn. And let's look at the marshmallow. Ooh, look at the marshmallow. The marshmallow has started to melt as well. Okay, so what we have here is we have 6 solids that we have added heat to, and some of them have already turned into liquids. Others have started to, but not completely. So we're observing changes caused by heat. The order that these objects melted was the ice melted first, the butter melted second, the crayon was third, the candle was fourth, the chocolate chip was fifth, and the marshmallow was last.